Sunday night service. And tonight I have two people on here that I have waited to, well, one for sure I've waited to get on here for 2 years and want to do this. We are talking the endocannabinoid system tonight, CBD, how to find a quality CBD, what should be going into your CBD, all things CBD tonight, right? That's what we're talking about. I have Marie and Samantha here with Botanical Processing, and they make my Earth Glory CBD that we use in the office. I am so grateful to have you guys on here tonight. I mean,
thanks for having us.
So excited. They are in Louisville, Kentucky at Marie's lab, which is Botanical Processing. And you can look that up. It's botanicalprocessing.com. Is that correct?
Dash processing.
Dash processing. Okay. So, guys, as soon as you get on, hit your heart buttons, hit your like buttons. Let me know that you're on here. Any questions that you have to ask, pop your questions up there. You know, we're on a Be Live, a little bit different than a regular Facebook Live. So when we finish this tonight, Marie can answer any questions you want on there. Okay. And so they'll have all kinds of questions, but I'm gonna get started with you all. You all can share it as soon as we get on, share it, hit start a watch party, because trust me, you're gonna want to hear this tonight. I only use one CBD in the office, and there's a reason. I believe Earth Glory is the best, and we'll talk about that. I believe it's the best for my patients and for me, and we'll talk about why tonight. But we're going to talk about Marie first. This lady, look at her. She looks like she's 12 years old. She's so young. It's all that cannabis probably that she's talking on her skin and getting her endocannabinoid system looking amazing. But listen, let me tell you about her. She's the founder and she's the owner of Botanical Processing. She has a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD in engineering. So she's Dr. Marie Grinstead. And I couldn't get, there's no PhD up there, but trust me, she's a doctor. All right. She thought originally she was going to go into medical device sales, like laparoscopic making, designing them. I'm not quite sure. She's a mechanical engineer. Well, as life would have it, sometimes your plans don't go as planned. And I am so grateful that she's not creating medical devices, creating unbelievable high quality CBD for us. The beauty of this is, I mean, the kicker to this is she's also a Polynesian dancer. Look at her. She has a Polynesian dance studio and she teaches Polynesian dance. And
She's learning.
I can't believe it. I watched her videos today and I have never, I can't move like that. I have no idea how you do that. And I can't wait to get to Louisville and take a class. But she's a Polynesian dancer.
We'll show you. Just take some practice, some stretches, bend the knees, you're set to go.
Yeah, I can't. Well, I'm good at stretching. So anyway, she founded this processing, this lab in 2015. She specializes in the extraction and the refinement, and we're going to talk about this, of high quality oils from botanicals. And I love botanical medicine, and I'm not an herbalist by any means, but oh my goodness, I love botanical medicine. I use a lot of botanicals in the office. She has a whole team there with her. She actually has her dad works in there too, right? He does.
Oh yeah, he helps us. Yep. He's retired. Actually, both my parents are retired, and so I'm just really fortunate to be able to have their mentorship, especially when it comes to the business side of things, the accounting side of things, all that stuff, the taxes, stuff that's not chemistry. So,
wow, yes,
really mentor us and help us in that way. We're really blessed for that.
What a family business! How great is that? Yeah. Okay, so we have Samantha here. She's an extractor and your lab supervisor, right?
Correct. Yes.
So did you know that you were going to get into this business? Was this something you had always wanted to do or no?
My passion began when I was really young, and discovering that the cannabis industry is very large. There are many aspects of it. It was kind of hard for me to find where I fit in. So I kind of took some time to research the different sides of the business that it had in the industry. And somehow I ended up meeting Marie and at a social gathering, and we began instantly just connecting about cannabis and everything.
Wow.
We just started talking about the whole
We
thing.
just hit it off.
Yeah, we really hit it off. The vibes were great, and I found out, that she owned the laboratory, and I was wondering if she had a position open, so I could get into it and learn more about it. I began in the winterization lab, and quickly I knew that I wanted to work more hands-on with the extraction part of it. So I took on leadership and worked really hard to try to get myself to work with this amazing extraction system. And here I am. I continue to explore and wonder where I'm going to go next with it.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. You are the age and the generation. I won't share her age, but she's very young, guys. And, to be in this field, I mean, I'm telling you, the sky's the limit for you, Samantha. The sky is the limit. And and you've got an amazing mentor right here so enough of that. We spent 5 minutes talking about this. We're going to get into Marie. How did you get started? I'm going to let Marie take the wheel tonight. Normally, you guys know I ask a ton of questions and all, but she knows I'm going to let her take the wheel, give us some background, how you got started in this and how you got this lab started. And let's go from start to finish on what happens from the hemp, from the very beginning to you to when it gets to my office.
Sure. So we got a lot of stuff to cover. I'll give a little bit of background first. So
yes,
the good part. This is what separates us really is how we started. And I was still working on my dissertation at the time, and really sometimes I don't try to think too much about exactly what got me into the business, because I believe that we are, you end up in a certain spot and it was all meant to be. So I took the plunge and just took the risk to start this lab. This was before there was a lot of information that was available online. A lot of people had no idea of what I was doing or why I was doing it.
That's right.
Yeah. And so got into it the first year into my doctorate, I was doing this simultaneously. And with that, with the little information that was available to me, as well as considering that I had a background in mechanical engineering, but I always loved chemistry since I was really little. So I used to study it in my spare time. I used to sit in on lectures that I was not even enrolled in, but we won't talk about that.
Study on your spare time. Guys, that ought to tell you that what we're dealing with here. I mean, who studies on their spare time?
Nerdy to the extreme over here. So I was always studying chemistry and fascinated by it, and looking at things that we can't see and what their workings are and inner workings. But got started in that, and with that little information, it was really nerve-wracking because I didn't have much of a place to start. I didn't have someone mentoring me or advising, no one to reach out to really ask the steps and stages the way that you can now, which it turns out that was the best thing that could have happened to me at that time, despite how challenging it was.
Wow.
Because that way I'm not influenced by how other people do things.
Exactly.
I was able to create it the way that I felt was best.
That's
and
right.
To experiment, trial and error, to continue research, months and now years of research, to do things how we believe is the right way for us, for the way that we would want our product to make. Because we are family owned and operated, we are a small batch, close-knit, small team, and we can control all of these factors that some companies or people might not be able to have that total control over. So we're really honored to have that opportunity. So we were able to start from scratch, and with that, we'll talk about exactly what that means and how our process has evolved to be what we feel is unique and different and has the community in mind at all times.
Good. That's a great background right there. So,
all right, we're going to start we have samples and examples for you.
Okay.
Visuals are the best. So we work really closely with the farm. It's very important. We communicate about all kinds of stuff from the soil tests. Then, of course, the crop is tested for all purity and potency analyses. And we also talk about even what hemp variety that we feel would be beneficial. So we are always collaborating with the farm because we have that opportunity and ability to stay just with very selective farms and farmers, and we can communicate about, hey, what about this hemp variety? Let's check out the terpene profile of this one and that one, and let's test it and give it a try and see what kind of effects that this one has versus another one, since we stay with one variety all the way through. So we work with a bunch of different hemp varieties, but each one is kept separate through the whole process. So we don't want to take this variety and mix it with that one and all of that. We want to stay true to what's inherent to that original biomass to see it all the way through for our research. So with that, we'll start with these. We start with the flower. So we do an all flower extraction.
Look at that. Yes, and that's what I remember seeing when we went to the farm. That's exactly. So that's the flower. So that's what comes out of the leaves that are those leaves that look like, that are hemp. And then okay.
Yep, and we focus on that concentrated bud, that floral part of it that is just rich in trichomes. And she's gonna pull it up there more.
Yes, look at that.
This one has been dried.
And this is the sticky part, right? That's sticky, or am I wrong? Am I right?
You are correct.
Okay, because I remember touching it and I had it all over my hands. And is that the part where a lot of the terpenes are? And I don't know.
Absolutely. So that's really crucial to understand, is that the way that the farmers work with the plant is extremely important too, so that we can do what we do best. The way that they harvest, the way that they care for the plant, the way that they strip the plant, it all affects how well preserved all of those trichomes are on those flowers. And that's what we're mainly concerned with. So it's not just, we go out there and tear everything down and just try to get it here. No, everything on the farm is really important as to how it's handled. That's why we are always in communication with the farmer, because we want to make sure that the great quality and the great job that they're doing, that all of that can be preserved and that we can give them justice come the time that we come to extract all the good stuff.
Wow. And the farm she's talking that we specifically today are talking about is Bluff Springs Farm in Glasgow, Kentucky.
Right.
And that's the Earth's Glory Farm where I went and met Marie out there and all. Okay. And I can tell you it is a well-oiled machine and a tight run ship out there. And it's amazing. Those people are phenomenal, and they really have, what they're learning about hemp and what they learned about hemp and what they're doing is such a huge benefit to the economy of Western Kentucky.
Yes. Given that we have perfect climate and for growing hemp and cannabis.
Yes.
And also another thing I would like to add is that we extract from the flower, making us different from a lot of other people who may just want to extract from what they call trim, which is not
as potent. It's not it's not the most potent part of the plant, because some will just kind of cut the plant and grind the whole plant together, which is a lot faster, it's a lot easier, it's not as time consuming. But we very specifically work with the floral material,
which is what contains the trichomes that you were asking about.
Right. The sticky stuff.
The sticky stuff. Okay. The sticky stuff.
The glands, yeah.
But you use that, but you use the flower, but it's still full spectrum, right? We're
right, absolutely, because when we're talking about full spectrum, we want to talk about the full range of that terpene profile.
Yes.
We want to talk about not just CBD, but all of the accessory cannabinoids, and the most dense part of the flower is where all those things are concentrated. So in order to get an optimal extraction, that is where we focus our efforts, and why it's important that there's an agreement of how we're going to work this and do this from the start, with the farmer.
Wow.
Everything about the farm, and then what we do, and then how it goes to the final product, every aspect of that affects that final product. And it's just what we believe. We believe that this is the way, this is how we want our products that we personally take to be handled and cared for with good energy and good intention and good morals and ethics from start to finish. It's
Amen.
really important for us.
No shortcuts. No
We
shortcuts.
strive for the best.
Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have the raw material there. We have the flower, the bud, or the flower.
It goes from being a biomass.
And we'll have to, let's go turn. Okay, so and we'll talk more about the actual extractor in a moment, but we are able to actually extract the terpenes separately from the main cannabinoid extraction. Why is this important? Because they are extremely delicate compounds that require different parameters for extraction to be preserved properly, to add back into the product development later into the final product for that true full spectrum. Because we'll get to the bulk one, but when it comes to our main cannabinoid extraction, which is more, you can tell them that one, after we pull the terpenes separately, that's when we pull the main extraction there for the hemp extract.
So where does that come from? That.
So all of this is actually from the same input biomass. We load
Wow.
up the extractor and we can do different extractions.
From that right there, from that flower.
From the flower. We can pull different things so that we can take these beautiful, if only you all could smell through the camera,
I know.
but these incredibly smelling, wonderful terpenes that are very delicate, that need to be extracted at different pressure temperature parameters. We're able to actually collect them separately to prevent them from going anywhere else in the process. They don't get any post-processing at all. They get added right back into the product so that they're preserved and intact and full of that wonderful aroma, because they're beautiful essential oil type of components of the plant. We can add those right back in there for full spectrum.
Wow. Okay. So we got the flower,
Right.
and then we have the
terps,
the terpenes and cannabinoids.
and then
Main
bulk
biomass.
extraction.
bulk extraction.
All right, now let's talk about this beauty.
What is that?
That is winterized extract. So we take that main cannabinoid extraction and we take it through winterization. That is the only post-processing that it's going to see for these products, in particular for Earth's Glory products, for that full spectrum.
Explain what. Yes.
Winterization is where we are going to be filtering out certain components of the plant that are inevitably also extracted with using CO2. So you can see the difference even in looking at the two here, that from here, we're gonna go from that type of a consistency to this crystallizing, more potent winterized extract. We're filtering out various components. The reason why we do this, there's a few reasons. It's increasing the potency of that final extract that's gonna go into the product. This is going to affect all different types of things related to the experience of that final product, involving aroma, taste, consistency, stability. We're taking out some of those unstable aspects like the lipids and some of those waxes and fats from the plant. And that then increases really just the shelf life of that product. And the main thing too is, for us personally, what we feel is for consistency. You want to have a pleasant experience. You want something, a solution that's going to remain homogeneous and not precipitate out of that solution. So
Yes.
there's certain factors that we want to filter out to have the best final product that we can, to give the consumer that great experience and have, just a really pure, clean, high potent product at the end.
Wow. So we have Jenny just asked, what is the difference between alcohol and CO2 extraction? And I was hoping someone would ask this.
Perfect. So in winterization, we do introduce alcohol, and we are freezing it at extremely low temperatures. Now, we get this a lot. Well, if you introduce alcohol, obviously the alcohol doesn't touch the terps, so hence there's one perk of using CO2 right there, because it doesn't have to go through winterization. But the thing about CO2 is that it is tunable. I can tune the parameters, just like what we do every day. We are messing with these parameters, pressure and temperature and time, and we can control our extraction. When you soak the plant in alcohol right from the beginning, it's a different method that we personally do not prefer because we love tunability. We like to have options. We like to preserve things that are too delicate to go through that process.
Wow.
Unique to the plant biomass.
Right. We want to preserve all of that. And so CO2 gives us that control. It also allows us to stay at low temperatures. So we can keep a certain amount of that, the acid form of cannabidiol preserved too. We don't have to use any high heat to clean up the product. A lot of people may have to go to a distillation process where that involves actually heating up all of the different cannabinoids until they vaporize under a vacuum. Now that's one way to do it. You know, certain people have certain methods, and that's totally fine. It's whatever works best for your model and your process. But we personally want to use low temperature methods from start to finish. And with our research, we have been able to actually get winterized extract consistently at higher potencies than a CBD distillate. So we don't have to go through that process, through that high heat, in order to get high potency extracts that they still smell wonderful. I have a experience in short path, and we do a little bit of short path distillation for certain end products for other clientele, because we are a processing laboratory. And we will tell you that the smell associated with distillation is actually, when I first did it, I was quite shocked a few years back. But it's very different. You're dealing with high heat. You have to deal with trying to, in a way, collect different tails. You have like your initial bulk, and then your main body. And it's a different way of working with it that works for some processes and some final products. But we decided that if we don't have to do that, and if we can keep it a beautiful product that is high potency from start to finish, that we just didn't prefer to go that route for our full spectrum products in particular.
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great answer. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, now what?
Okay, so let's talk about the extractor, since we are posted up in front of this.
Yes.
We initially started with a 5-liter extractor, which actually we still have over in this corner over here, that's used for R&D. But this is our latest extractor, and Samantha is actually, let me make sure you guys can see this.
I'm going to see if I can't make this full screen. You keep talking.
Okay.
We can't tell.
Right, we can't see it, so you do whatever works.
I think are we okay?
I think they can hear us. She just disappears and we can't hear. Okay, I think we're good. So she's standing next to the extraction vessels. This is two 20-liter vessels next to each other. So to give you a relative sense of, we started with the 5-liter, and now we have a total of 40 liters to work with in an extraction run. These two vessels hold the hemp biomass. So we prep the biomass, we grind the biomass to optimize that surface area, and it goes into there. And what is happening, this is where the CO2 is introduced. So at this point, this is where it becomes pressurized, and we are playing with pressure and temperature and time. The system cranks in the CO2, and it's pressurized there, changing the actual state of CO2, creating a liquid-like substance that all of these great compounds that we want to extract from hemp are soluble in at that point. So it floods the plant cells, extracts out those beneficial compounds that we are wanting from the plant, and then it's going to come over to the other half of the system. This is the separator side of the system where Samantha is now. What happens when it enters this side is there is a reduced temperature and a reduced pressure. When that happens, CO2 turns back into a gas. So everything that it collected and extracted out when it was in its more liquid, subcritical, soluble state is actually going to basically fall out because it's in this mixture. And when that CO2 turns back into a gas based on the pressure difference that happens after it crosses the orifice, then all of the stuff that we want to collect actually collects in those vessels right there.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how much, like poundage wise, how many flowers or buds do you put in that? How many fit in that for one process?
We can go on poundage wise.
Poundage.
So poundage wise, we can extract with this system anywhere between 20 to 30 pounds in one run, which is a very nice amount.
A lot of these.
Yeah.
A lot of those. So how many bottles will 20 or 30 pounds make of your, because the bottles are all the same size?
Oh my goodness, that would vary drastically too by the strength.
Oh.
I would say a nice amount. I mean, a pretty decent amount of bottles. Just
wow.
For one extraction run.
Thanks to this.
Yeah, we can follow up with an exact.
Okay, well, I just wondered, yeah, because it's, that's time consuming.
Right.
I didn't know how many.
The thing about our extraction machine that we currently have, we're able to run 2 vessels simultaneously.
Right, do a dual extraction with both vessels at the same time. Let's talk about why there's 2 separators. I think they can see us.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay.
If you can move it over, yes, beautiful.
Perfect.
Here we go.
So this system is actually called the duplex, and we have 2 separator sides. This large separator vessel and this small one, they're all part of the same system. This small guy right here, all he is just a double checker. The CO2 gas, it comes over through this tube down to this vessel for a double check to make sure that all of the extract has fallen out before it recirculates to the compressor and things like that. This is a whole nother set. The great thing about this system that we are just thrilled with every day and blown away by is that we can actually program this system to extract in this separator for a certain amount of time. Then, when we're programming it, after a certain amount of runtime, it will now shift over to this other separator vessel and collect over there. This way, we can purposefully control the temperature and the pressure of the extractor vessels for a very set amount of time for one specific pull, allowing us to preserve and extract these terpenes separate from that main extraction. And the beauty of this too is that while we open up this vessel and collect from here, the system still can extract on the other side, so we're not losing time by trying to collect that one terpene pull.
Wow. Wow. How long have you had this system?
Luckily, I was able to demo Apex's very first duplex that they made. That was in 2018, I think. They had just made it, and they wanted to test it on actual plant material, on actual hemp material. And we are pretty close to their headquarters. And I already had a small system from them that we got in like 2015, 2016. So they reached out, and we have always stayed in connection. And we were able to demo that unit. And I fell in love with it. Actually published 2 different research articles on the results of that system in Extraction Magazine.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Extraction Magazine?
Extraction Magazine, yep.
I mean, I'm over here reading Oprah, and she's reading Extraction Magazine, and I'm grateful that you are. So.
Right. So we were actually able to get the actual system in last summer. So obviously we had a demo set for a certain amount of time to run certain tests. in that year. And then just last summer, so just 1 year later, we were able to get this system in. And so, let's take a moment actually just for 1 second to say how appreciative we are of people who believe in us. I mean, people who support us, people like Dani who trust us and believe in what we're doing. This is how we can take our methods that we believe in, that we started on a small scale, and we're able to go out and find that perfect technology and implement that and grow and make our products and our methods even better because of the support that we have from people like you and the people that use Earth's Glory. I mean, I'm really passionate about it. So, we just want to say we really, really appreciate that. It gives us an opportunity to grow. It gave me an opportunity to build the team. It means a lot to us.
Well, thank you. And we're grateful for you. So, I would not get behind a product that I did not believe in. And what I've seen from your products is superior to anything that I've used in the past, or my patients tell me. And again, there's not one product for everybody, and I completely understand that. And I have some patients say, no, I did better with something else. And I tell them, use what works for you.
Absolutely.
I know, what works for me and most of my patients, but, and that's all great and good. But the backside of that is the integrity that comes from this company and that comes from you and Samantha and everyone in your company, but at Earth's Glory as well. To me, all of that matters.
Right. Agreed.
And we believe in that. We really take it very seriously. We put a lot of care and love into every part of the process that we have here. And we believe that, making products with the highest quality and the highest of everything is just going to set us apart from everyone else.
That difference.
And it does make a difference.
Yeah, because we talk about this kind of stuff. We're like, we always stay positive in the lab. There's not a bad day because we are honored to have this opportunity, and we believe that our positive energy that we have from start to finish, that it makes a difference in that final product. It really is made with love. We talk a lot about science, but we also talk a lot about just our general love and passion for it, and how we believe that really fuels the difference that we can make.
And given the opportunities that we have, we hope to really inspire many other people to, follow the same steps and morals that we hold.
Right.
Well, I know, Marie, what you and I talked about this afternoon, what you said about women and empowering women. Share a little bit about, your company, and you just wanted to lift women up and let them know that they could do anything, and especially in the science world.
Right, absolutely. And this is a common theme too when we talk about different brands out there. There are great products out there, and we are so happy to see every company that is doing great things. And if something works for you, that's wonderful. But the message that we like to also get out is that, hey, if you're going to choose something, personally, what I do is I look at that story. I look at the story behind the people, and what else are they doing outside of just trying to crank out a product or, sell a product, produce a product. What else is there? Because we have so many bigger plans that stem from just having this operation as an opportunity. We want to show women that this industry, it is ripe and ready for a new entrepreneur and new opportunities, and that women have extreme potential, that you can use your intelligence, you can use those smarts and those brains to come out here and you can figure it out, you can challenge yourself, and you can make a difference.
Bingo. Yes. That's what it's all about. Girl, I am telling you. So when you said about high quality products, what I wanted to ask you, because I know people ask, what do they need to look for when they're looking for a high quality product? So they're out shopping and they're at wherever, because you can get CBD everywhere, from the gas station to Walgreens to CVS to Target and Whole Foods. What are they looking for when somebody's picking up their products? And I'm actually going to make you full screen because I left my CBD in the other room and I wanted to go show people something. Tell us, what are you looking for with a high quality CBD, and also talk a little bit about isolate, difference between isolates, full spectrum, and hemp seed extract.
Got it. Okay, we will cover all of that. So we'll start with the hemp seed oil. Hemp seed oil is actually cold pressed from the seeds. It has wonderful, nutritious benefits. It's a very dark green, fairly thick oil that does not have traces of cannabinoids in it to any type of high potency, because it is cold pressed from seeds, whereas all of those components that we are after, those terpenes and those cannabinoids, are all concentrated in the floral part of the plant. So when you have those, it absolutely, hemp seed has its benefits, the nutritious value, but if you're going after CBD, that's not where you're going to get it from. That is a hemp seed oil. This is a hemp extract. So you want to look for that keyword, the hemp extract, that sets it apart from the actual hemp seed oil.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And as for when it comes to, there's three main categories and types of products you can look for. You can look for products made from isolate. That is where CBD has been isolated down and post-processed to be all by itself. And there are no other compounds there with it. It's 99+% pure CBD.
Okay.
Well, that absolutely has a place in the industry. It has a place for studying CBD specific types of effects and therapeutic effects. And it has a place for those who might not be able to use products that have a trace of THC.
Oh.
Right, yeah. So it has its place. Though we obviously are very into the full spectrum, because we believe that as nature intended it and what we are given, that we want to preserve all that it has to offer. CBD does a specific thing as it interacts with our ECS.
Which is
actually, yeah,
tell me what the ECS is.
Oh, yes. So our endocannabinoid system that we all have, this is a biological regulatory mechanism.
That's right.
Yes,
that.
The ECS, it is a complex network of receptors, molecules, and enzymes that are all signaling, enhancing, inhibiting. There's all types of complex things behind this. The interesting thing about CBD is they're the two most talked about receptors, CB1 and CB2, part of our ECS. CBD does not have a very strong affinity to bind to those receptors. But so the important thing to consider is that it has a specific role. We have indigenous cannabinoids that are, so we call those our endo, whereas the ones from plants are our phyto. Right?
That's right.
Right. So what CBD does, it's actually interesting how it works. It's been observed that ingesting CBD, administering CBD, increases your levels of your own indigenous cannabinoids that have a crucial role in a lot of different maintenance areas of your ECS to get your systems back in achieving that balance, that homeostasis, your cellular balance. And it's anandamide specifically that we want to stick around. So let's say something comes in and I'm going to throw your endocannabinoid system off whack. I'm going to throw you off whack. And so what your body does, her body is going to start producing, her ECS is going to trigger her own indigenous cannabinoids to produce that those types like anandamide. The thing about it is, which anandamide has a very good affinity to bind to CB1 and CB2 directly, which then obviously has profound impacts for your overall systems. CBD actually inhibits the enzyme that is responsible for the breakdown of anandamide. So once it comes out, it's all in, it's going through, she's like, oh good, it's getting me back in check, but it doesn't last very long. So we want to try to prolong that process of it doing its thing to bind directly to CB1 and CB2. So CBD enters the system and actually inhibits the enzyme FAAH that breaks down that anandamide so that we can prolong its balancing effects. So the point of that, how we kind of sprung off, CBD, it works with actually non-cannabinoid receptors in the body as well as various ion channels in our ECS. So it has a crucial role. But the important thing to consider is that if you're going to take an isolate where it's CBD only, then that is the one thing that it's going to do. Terpenes, THC, actually has its direct binding, and all of the other accessory cannabinoids, your CBG, your CBN, your CBC. We just talked about what CBD did for the ECS. So imagine when you have a full spectrum of all of these molecules, and they're also communicating. They're either enhancing, inhibiting, signaling, all these different things in your ECS. That is where the true benefit of full spectrum comes in, which means that it has all of those traces.
That was beautifully said.
Oh, good.
So, I mean, beautifully said. So when a patient's looking at, or a customer's looking at a bottle and they see CBD, 26 milligrams, right? Then they see, what is that? Cannabidiol?
Yes, so that's that CBDA.
CBDA.
We put that on there to show that we don't convert all of the CBDA. That shows that it's low temperature. It's a low temperature. CBDA actually interacts differently with the ECS. So it's really crucial that we maintain and are able to preserve a certain percentage of that for its actions and side of things that it can do for
And not all CBD has CBDA in it. Not all CBD oil that people get. Because I look at the back of people's oils. That's what I was looking at. And it doesn't say CBDA many times. And they don't say additional cannabinoids like ours does.
Right, absolutely. And that's because all of those things are preserved, especially when we're talking about low temperature. Low temperature methods are the way to preserve that. CBDA is actually majority of what's present in the plant. It's not until it's heated that it converts to CBD. So in some processes and methods that involve high heat, everything is converted. But we personally, we don't want that. We want to ingest CBDA as well. So that's part of our preservation of the process.
And that will go into how we go about extracting different terpenes and preserving different parts of the endocannabinoids.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating, guys. I want you all to realize that are watching this. This is not just grow some hemp and make some oil. I mean, this is a big deal. It is a big deal to do it right. It is a big deal to have it to do it properly and to preserve all of the amazing, the terpenes, all the benefits that come from it, and to do it right. I mean, it's way more complicated than I thought it was.
The interesting part too is we consider our methods to be relatively simple. Based on what other types of processes and other companies, their SOPs and what they choose to do. Ours are relatively simple, but we have put so much research into optimizing what people would consider the simple thing. We don't want any stage of the process where it's not a good quality or consistency to the point where we have to post-process it into something that can actually be put into a product, that's acceptable to be put into a product. So everything from start to finish, we have researched to make sure that these methods, though relatively simple given to what some people can do with post-processing and extraction in general, that our research really matters in terms of having quality from start to finish. There's no point in time where we're like, oh, this is terrible. We really need to post-process the heck out of this thing.
No, I wish you could smell everything.
Right, I know, yeah. We're just having a good old time here with all.
I know what it smelled like when we pulled up to the farm.
Instant.
Garth said, roll the windows down. You got to smell this as we come rolling in. And I was like, what? And I mean, it was amazing. It smelled so incredibly. It was amazing. It was amazing.
And we love to preserve that.
Oh yeah. Speaking of aromas, it also is important to talk about that different hemp varieties have different terpene profiles. And obviously, the cannabinoids are really of high interest and kind of the hot topic, because of course they should be. But what we should be considering next is the terpene profiles that we can preserve and then keep into the final product. There are different types of ones, ranging from sativa dominant hybrids to indica dominant. Whereas your sativa products, that's a lot of our preference, because those terpene profiles, you're able to use that product during the day. And it can help balance your system, but give you that focus, that mood enhancement. Whereas like an indica is more known for its sedative effects, kind of puts you out type of thing. You wouldn't want to take that in the beginning of the day. So these terpene profiles are really important to consider for what your needs are. And we are constantly researching and testing our terpene profiles of the hemp varieties that the farmers we're working with are putting out. We provide recommendations as to what we feel would be best for the end product and for the consumer and what we think that our community is looking for. So all of those types of factors come into play when it comes to even what hemp variety to grow, what's that terpene profile. The terpenes are those essential oils, just like different essential oils have different uses and benefits.
Yes.
Same thing with the different terpenes. So the different plant varieties and hemp varieties have different terpene profiles and are therefore going to have a different final effect. And you want to keep those in for those things versus just focus solely on the cannabinoids.
Wow. Yes.
If
Fascinating.
you want to look more into that, you can also do research on the entourage effect of.
Right. Oh, look at you.
Look at her.
Right.
Yeah.
So to also summarize too, because obviously we have so much we'd love to talk about, but so quick back on we talked about isolate. There's also broad spectrum. That means that it has been, THC has been removed from that product. So that requires quite a bit of post-processing as well and some chromatography methods. That specifically, again, the reason that is a popular option is those who are worried about drug testing, right? They're taking out that THC. Full spectrum means that legal trace of THC, that below 0.3%, that is maintained and that's still in that final product, as well as all the terpenes. Personally, for us, we also feel that having that acid form of cannabidiol is also crucial for what we like to take and for full spectrum as well. So preserving that with low temperatures. So what I would recommend, if you do not have those concerns, hopefully things will change to where people can use full spectrum and not have to worry because of its great benefits, like talking about the entourage effect. But when you're looking at a product, you want to look for that. If you can, go for that full spectrum. Obviously, our preference is CO2 extraction. Hopefully you see why that's our personal choice. But it's important to consider that, as well as making sure that there are COAs that are tied to that product available, like Earth's Glories are available online. And actually, their next label that we have in the works is, it's going to actually have a QR code.
So guys, this is third-party testing or certificate of analysis. And this is so important. And I'll tell you what, I have so many patients who walk in and say, let me see that third party.
They should, that's great.
Because they know that we offer it and nobody's ever seen one before. But I have so many patients who come in with other companies, bottles and stuff, and they have no idea about their third-party testing or they don't know. And so I teach them how to read this and talk about the COA and why that's so important.
Yeah, sure thing. So it's also important to talk about the different stages that we test. We test with the farmers, the soil is tested. When that flower gets here, we help the farmers and make sure that they send out, and sometimes we actually send out mostly for them, but we'll send their flower out to the third-party labs to have all of those purity analyses done too. Testing for heavy metals, the mycotoxins, bacteria, yeast, and mold, pesticides, all of that stuff on that flower part that's crucial. Then once we verify that it's all clean, good to go, then we introduce it into our process. From there, we actually get our terpenes and our winterized extract, which we then again, we send out again to the third-party labs to verify all of these things again before going and mixing into a big batch, because obviously we wouldn't want to mix in a batch and we would never ever have had any issue whatsoever because of the amount of testing. But that's why we do it at so many different stages. Right. And then once we mix that into the final batch, and we know exactly what ratios of the terpenes and the extract to put into that final carrier oil, then we send out for the final batch testing that verifies the potency. It tests for heavy metals, residual solvents, the mycotoxins, the E. coli, salmonella, the pesticides, Luckily now this next label that is about to come out with the unflavored 1,000 milligrams, so just natural Earth's Glory 1,000 milligram tincture with no peppermint. We are implementing all QR codes now on all future products, starting with this one. So directly on the label, you'll be able to scan it, and a summary of the product and what it is comes up, as well as all of the COAs, everything that we just mentioned there, all there. You can just scroll through that on your phone.
Oh, fantastic. Because to me, this kind of stuff is fascinating. And they look for everything. Well, they look for most everything.
Yeah, the crucial stuff that verifies that purity for you.
Yes. And so back to the whole drug testing thing, you briefly mentioned it. Patients ask me all the time, am I going to test positive on a drug screen because I have to test? And my standard answer, and maybe this is wrong, is maybe. Yeah, maybe. If you're using, maybe. I've only had maybe 3 people have a faint positive using Earth Glory. But I learned something just now that I did not know. I didn't know that broad spectrum means no THC whatsoever.
Yeah, that's the typical industry terminology for broad spectrum, meaning that THC has been removed through chromatography.
Okay. And then ours, guys, for it to be legal in the United States right now, it has to have less than 0.3% THC, correct?
Correct.
And that's what this has. So there is THC in it, but it's less than 0.3. And I just think,
yes.
Now, in Colorado, is it legal to have way more than 0.3? Yes, I'm assuming.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. A lot more lenient out that way.
I believe it will be here soon, don't you?
Yeah, we hope so. THC interacts differently with the ECS and has its own signaling and communication and binding. So it's a crucial part of getting the whole benefits from the plant as a medicine.
Wow. Girl.
My question, because there is a small trace of THC, will it have that psychoactive effect? Right. And with it being such a low percentage, you won't.
Yeah, in no way. Right. Of that low concentration. That's why people have actually really turned to hemp-derived products, because they may be seeking certain types of treatment but do not want those psychoactive effects associated with it. Actually, CBD counteracts the psychoactive effects of THC. So when they are combined together, it really is like an ultimate partnership for those who are seeking those effects.
That's right. One other thing I wanted to mention, because I know that it varies unbelievably, the range from, this says 1,000 milligram CBD, right? And I saw a study, I don't think it was a study, but I saw a comparison online when they actually did take maybe 50 bottles of CBD, and how many bottles had way more than what it said it was in it, or way less than what it said it was in. This is what is so important right here, because this test, guys, I don't know if you all understand that. Just because you bought a bottle of CBD somewhere and it says it's 1,000 milligrams, which that means 1,000 milligrams for the whole bottle, correct?
Correct.
Right. 1,000 milligram bottle does not mean that it really is. It may not be 1,000 milligrams for the whole bottle, unless you know for a fact that it was tested. And it says up here, am I correct on this? 1,000 milligram, batch number 1804, right?
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of snake oil out there on the market.
Oh, that brings up another good point, actually. Another important thing to consider with different products on the shelf. Some will list a strength, and there's 2 different ways that companies can go about, just however they want to go about their marketing. Some will list the amount of cannabinoids total. So that includes the accessory cannabinoids as well. So it's not just CBD that they're talking about. So the CBD might be a little bit of a lower percentage than what's on their front panel of the label. Another thing I've seen some companies do, and again, it's all just depending on their way of doing things in marketing, is they will just put the amount of hemp extract that is put into the product. hemp extract does not mean 100% CBD. That could be, depending on their extraction methods and processes, that could be, we've seen some as low as 20% CBD in the hemp extract. We've never extracted anything like that because we are in the high potency ranges. But it's possible. So it could be, they could say there's this much hemp extract in terms of milligrams in that bottle, and only a certain percentage of that might actually be CBD that makes up that hemp extract. What we do with our labeling is that we put the direct amount, as you see on those COAs, the direct amount of active CBD in there, and we treat CBDA especially too now as more of an accessory cannabinoid in your dosage.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of intricacies to this and things to know, because people are desperate. And guys, here's what I tell you. You know, I say this to you all the time. What we do for a living, especially in functional medicine, there's a lot of snake oil, but there's a lot of people without a lot of integrity. And my girls know this in the office, because people are desperate when they come to a functional medicine place. Many times they've been to so many different providers, and they literally are buying the Kool-Aid. Whatever it is we recommend, they buy it. And you have to practice with such integrity, and knowing that you can't help all people. And what I love about you is you've got integrity. That's what I'm trying to say, is that, you know, I think the farm has integrity. You all are just, you have integrity. And it's,
We're having some difficulty seeing you on this side, and
We lost you, Dani. We lost you. At least
yep, there we are. I don't know what happened there. All of a sudden it said you, okay. So maybe that's our cue. It says 56 minutes into this. I don't know. So, okay, what else do we need to talk about? Do you have anything on your side?
I did want to touch back up on the topic where, you know, you were wondering, will the low THC show up in drug tests? CBD and herbal medicine like this acts very different with everybody in different ways. We are all separate bodies, so one person may test and one may not. Like we said, it just depends on the kind of dietary
makeup.
Yeah, your own makeup. It could have to do with your dietary supplements that you take on the side, or just your diet in general, your lifestyle. All of those kind of things play into whether you may test for it or not. So
Okay.
I think it affects everybody differently, and
Yes.
if you feel that you may be tested, maybe, you know, take a lower dosage of it. Things like that.
Talk to your employer. You know, hopefully one day we won't have to be worrying about this. I know there's actually legislators involved in working with what they would call false positives based off that it was, you know, from a hemp-derived product, not from cannabis and things like that. Not that we should have to. Hopefully one day we just won't have this topic whatsoever. But for now, people just consider it. You know, be open. Talk to your employer about what you're hoping to get from this and why you want to choose this, and just have an open communication with them regarding that.
Exactly. I think that's what it's going to take. And I've written, I think, 2 letters for people with the COA, and said, look, this is what they're taking from us. They're buying this from us. And, you know, here it is. Here it is. And so, but we have the COA to give with it, you know, and that's huge. That's huge. And I had one patient who did test positive it was not a patient. There was somebody came in. And it did come up positive on a federal job. He was applying for the job. He did not get the job. I was horrified, but he called and he said, let me tell you something. That Earth Glory has been such an amazing thing for me, for his pain and anxiety and all, that he said it wasn't meant for me to have that job.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow.
And I mean, this was a federal job. I know his wife. I don't know him very well, but I know her, and I just felt terrible for her. You know, I said, I am so sorry, but I mean, that's a possibility if you're using, you know, a full spectrum. And she said, don't you dare worry about it. She said, we have had such benefit with his pain Yeah, it was pain and anxiety. Don't worry about it. It wasn't the job for him.
Right. And then, and hopefully in the future, people won't have to try to make tough decisions like that. Hopefully that won't even be an obstacle anymore.
That's exactly right. So tell us what else, anything else, what's in the pipeline? Is there anything from Earth's Glory? Because I know you do some other things. What do we have coming out? Anything that we can share?
Sure. So, and hey, another thing that we'd like to plug in here is we are not on, what do you call it, the front line we're behind the scenes. We are in this lab every day, just, focused in on what we do. We don't get a daily interaction with people who are using these products. Your all's feedback is crucial. This is what we're able to do. We don't have anyone telling us what we need to make or what, we don't have investors that are telling us, you need to do this and make this and do that. No, we make our own calls. So your feedback is crucial. If you want a certain type of product and you let Dani know that, she's always in communication with us about
yes, I am. I know.
We're always catching up.
I'm constantly texting and yes.
Right. So it's important that you guys let her know too what you're interested in. The first one that we have that is, we're just waiting on the labels to be printed, is the unflavored version. So with anyone with peppermint sensitivity or peppermint just isn't for your, it's not your thing.
Yeah.
The 1,000 milligram is coming out in the natural unflavored version in the tincture.
Fantastic. In the tincture. Yes.
Right. Right.
Yes, I am so excited about that. I don't have a lot of people though that complain about, they love, most of them do. And, like I told the girl today who said, we were talking about the anxiety and stuff. And I said, oh, just put it in your vagina, use it as a vaginal lubricant, use it to help with orgasm.
Yeah.
Well,
with different intimate oil recipes
you bet. So when she's saying that, I'm in touch with them and stuff, when I found out over Christmas that you could use this stuff vaginally and that you could use it as a lubricant or you could use it, it makes orgasms much stronger. It's unbelievable. I was immediately on the phone with them and like, okay, you got to come up with something because, there's another company out there and all of that. And so I'm hoping that that's in the pipeline as well, because I keep telling my patients, just put your regular CBD in your vagina and it works. Because let me tell you, ladies that are listening, we have so many receptors down here. We've got the vagina, the labia, the clitoris, the ovaries, the fallopian tubes. They all have ECS receptors. Am I correct?
Correct.
And for people who have things like endometriosis or painful intercourse or things, it is phenomenal. I had a lady in Friday because I told her, people with really bad dysmenorrhea or painful periods, I have them put the CBD topically right here.
Yes.
And she said, Dani, that's the best thing. Number one, I have them take out the toxic tampons that are loaded with Roundup, glyphosate, right? I have them use an organic pad or tampon and then put the CBD topically, and then they can also put it vaginally. She said, Dani, I have no more pain, no more painful periods because of that.
I'm glad you brought that up because we also use these everywhere. I love to ingest it, put it on my face.
Yes.
I'm like, hey, what'd you do with that sample? Oh, I put it in my hair.
Yes, I put it on my face every day.
Which brings us also to that we want your all's feedback on skincare line. We have different things in the works. We have an insane amount of organic essential oils, top-notch quality essential oils that we have sourced that we are working with to make different skincare items. So your all's feedback on that would be greatly appreciated too, because those are in the works as well. Obviously, we test them, but we need to test on more people and get more people's feedback.
I'm testing the facial serum right now and the eye cream, and I love it. I think my skin looks really good. Now, I don't know.
You always look good.
Well, thank you. It hasn't helped me with this English bulldog droop right here, but I think that's just natural. But my skin actually does look really good, and I've been testing it. So, all right, guys. And so you all are listening to this. Anything that you think that we might want to try, or you think people would be interested in, that's the beauty of dealing with a small company.
Absolutely.
Right?
100%.
Because
we listen to you. We want to know what you all need. That's what we're here for.
That's right. Because we know the owner, and she's sitting right there, and I can go straight to her. We can go straight to her and say, hey, look, we need this. This is going to help people with blah, blah, blah. And that's the beauty of it. And thank you for being open to that. I'm like that in the office. I'm like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
We have a hard time deciding.
I've got to figure it out, because
we have all these ideas and products. What do you all want to have more of, so we can focus on one?
I know, we always are so scattered. How's that product doing? What about this one? What about that one? And they're like, wait,
we love it all.
I'm telling you, you are so into the right thing right now. I mean, you have hit this at an excellent time. And, people are wanting to come to decrease their anti-anxiety meds. They're wanting to decrease their depression meds, or their pain medicines, or their migraine headache medicines, all these things. And CBD for my patients, and I don't know about everybody, has really helped my patients and my clientele at the office to do that, to decrease these medications that they're on. And I've never had any interaction with anything. Now, I know that things can interact, and I know that, but overall, it has an extremely a good safety profile.
Right. Adding on to that, like you said, the products that we create are helping your body within to actually fix these kind of problems that you may have, medical problems or anything like that. Whereas traditional medicines are kind of covering it up with a blanket, blocking it, unlocking it for a little bit.
Treating one symptom and not helping your body help itself. Our easiest way that we say is what these molecules come in and communicate with your ECS. They're helping your body do its thing. Mm-hmm. They're helping your body trigger all of its own internal communication systems and signaling to do its thing, versus just going in and focusing on one symptom or one thing that can then throw other things off whack. We want to treat it. That's why we believe so much in what you do, Dani. I mean, that integrative medicine is crucial. Each person is different. We need to assess different factors than just putting a blanket over everybody. There's so many different things. We're all different in beautiful ways, and we need to be treated differently and listen and be heard when it comes to what's going on, and have someone like you who specializes in these areas to genuinely help people treat everything from the inside out, not just try to give you one thing that is supposed to cover that up for a moment to make you feel better temporarily. So we just want to say that we're very much into that. We research it. We love what you do, and we are honored to be a part of it and make things that you can use in your practice, because we support what you do.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And I think that is a beautiful way to end this, because, I'm honored that you took the time to do this tonight. It's actually 8:00, 8:10 in Louisville. And thank you for this. And Samantha, you were incredible. And I wish that I had half of the intelligence and at your age that you have. And I'm so excited to see what the future holds for you, because you're in an amazing industry, and it's really to where you can really help a lot of people, and that's what it's all about. And guys, if you want to learn more about Marie's company and what she does, we're going to put her website up there, which is Botanical Processing. Okay. I think I had it wrong. Botanical-processing.com. And then her Instagram is Botanical Processing, right?
Right. At Botanical Processing.
At Botanical Processing, and Facebook as well. And then, you all know that we keep Earth's Glory in the office. I mean, we have every
Absolutely. And that's
product.
Earth's Glory CBD. So So go to them too. They're earthglory.com directly. It should be earthglorycbd.com, I believe. So yeah, make sure you follow them.
Yeah, we keep it in the office, and we sell it in the office, and then we have it online on our online supplement store at DaniWilliamson.com, and then it's right there under IFM supplement store for those of you that don't live locally. But I believe in it. I sell one company, but this isn't about selling CBD tonight. This is about, I wanted you guys to see where the company that I love comes from and what they do and how they do this. This is not a simple, well, they say it's simple. It doesn't.
Relatively.
The simplest things are best, in my opinion, and that's how I practice common sense, practical medicine. That's that tag the banner on my website. And the simplest and the most common sense things, in my opinion, are the best things.
Right. And where we need to have the focus, because sometimes we just pass up the things that are relatively simple because we think it must go through 10 stages and 10 steps and, visit a million different pieces of equipment and all of this, but we need to look back to the simple things. As Mother Nature intended it is where we need to try to aim our methods. And so we don't want to go so far from that. It's the simplistic nature that we need to get back to.
As Mother Nature intended it. Let's leave it with that. You guys, thank you so much. Don't hang up. I'm going to stop this. But then, thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Thank you for watching.
And we hope everyone is staying safe and staying well. Hang in there. Reach out to Dani if you're going through anything. We're here for anybody who knows us, but it's a challenging time, and we're just wishing the best and praying for those going through any challenges and struggles with the different times in the economy and all kinds of things happening with the system and the scares. So hang in there, stay safe, and take care, and make sure you're giving your body what it needs for that proper balance to achieve homeostasis so that it can function at its most optimal, at its best, so that you can keep that defense.
And be preventive as well.
Right.
You bet, guys. The prevention is key. That's what I base my practice on. And once we miss that and we get into the full-blown disease, it's like herding cats trying to get everything back in.
Back together, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Prevention is key. And, I know people were asking about or wondering about COVID-19 and CBD. We talked about this before. We don't have any research on that. But what we do know is that it will help your endocannabinoid system be more balanced, correct? And keep homeostasis. And when that's in balance, then our bodies, then we're in balance. And it's not going to hurt you. And it could help you. And it's one of those things, right? Because I think that we have a lot of anxiety going on right now. People do. And I know for sure it helps with that. So, all right, guys, appreciate you so much. Guys, thank you so much. I know we ran over. Thank you for hanging in there with us and watching this. And you can share it. It'll be up on the YouTube channel in 2 days. You can share it because it was some amazing information for these ladies in Louisville, Kentucky. We're all Kentucky girls. I love